Hi, beautiful souls. This is Sarah Ariana, and this is a geomagnetic storm and Schumann resonance update for March the 2nd, 2023. Let's begin by taking a look at the recent geomagnetic storms that we just went through. This began on February the 26th, at the very end of the day, and went through to February the 28th. This was almost a 48-hour event. Very intense storms coming through. And you can see with these beautiful pictures that places all around the world that don't get to see the aurora borealis were able to experience this beautiful event. And during this time in the geomagnetic storms, the solar wind was very high. It reached a peak of 781 kilometers per second. And then on February the 28th, we had an M8 solar class flare. Very high, intense energy came through. And on February the 28th, within the Schumann resonance, it reached a peak of 21 hertz. And yesterday, on March 1st, the Schumann reached a peak of 70 hertz. A huge wave of light came through. So let's go back to the energy within the geomagnetic storms. There's a few experiences you may have had. One of them being before the storms hit, you were moving with the energy, you were feeling good with your work and your projects. And when the storms came in, you were blocked and you don't feel like physical activity. You don't feel like doing much. There's not a lot of motivation. You want to, but you're feeling blah. Now, if you are feeling this will shift and change, especially by the end of March. And this is not to say, oh my gosh, I have to wait for weeks until I feel good again. No, that is not the case. There's going to be more activity from the sun, and within the Schumann that comes in between that, the divine is stating, just wait, be with the energy, and it will shift. Now, the other scenario that some of you may have experienced prior to this massive geomagnetic storm was that you were feeling blocked before the storm hit. You were working on a project and you weren't able to move ahead with it smoothly. There was block after block after block. And then the geomagnetic storm came through. You felt clear. You felt great. Whatever you were working on flowed very smoothly and continues to do so. And this is great if you're in this energy. And the divine is saying for many of you, it will continue to flow smoothly for March. And let's talk about ascension symptoms and sensations that many of us have been experiencing. For many of us, we have had frequent dreams. And during the storm activity, you may have experienced insomnia, waking up at 2 a.m. and thinking, why am I awake during this time? You may also be experiencing the continuation of vibrations throughout the body. Now, this can be uncomfortable if you haven't experienced this before, or if it's very intense. And if you are experiencing this and it is uncomfortable, the divine are coming forward and recommending grounding. If you're in an area where it's cold outside, you're in the northern hemisphere, the divine does recommend bundling up and getting outside, grounding and walking. If you're in the southern hemisphere and it's coming to the end of summer, the beginning of fall, if you're able to walk barefoot on the grass, and you will feel a difference with the vibrations in your body. This will help your physical vessel. And you may also be experiencing subtle sensations, such as the vibrations at the back of the neck, at the Ultima Major chakra. And this sensation feels good. If you've ever been to a physiotherapist before, sometimes they will put these pads on that have electrodes in them. And the spot that is giving you issues, they'll place it on there. And once they crank up the machine, it gets activated and these sensations go through the electrodes into your body. And this is similar to what it feels like, this very subtle sensation at the Ultima Major. It feels nice, it feels good. And you may be experiencing this in moments of stillness, in contemplation, and in meditation. Heart palpitations is also coming up. I do recommend always going to see your doctor if you're not sure. And this has been coming up throughout the past few days. You may also be experiencing more inflammation in the body. I know that my team has led me to researching enzymes that help with inflammation, and specifically leading me to papaya. And I know how this sounds. It's so interesting. They led me to, it's called natural enzyme therapy. And my team and my body are wanting me to eat more pineapple, papaya, and mango. So if you're dealing with any inflammation, take a look, do some research with fibrin and the enzymes that are great in reducing inflammation. And I thank you all so much for sharing your experiences. When we go through these solar flares and geomagnetic storms, it helps so much to know that we're not alone. So what is happening to the sun? We know that the sun is moving into a cycle where it's becoming a lot more active. And it's going to be doing this for the next few years. It's going to get more and more intense, potent. This also helps us. So the divine has brought forward a message for us, and take what resonates with you and leave the rest behind. The divine says the sun is activating the humans on earth. And 2023 is a pivotal year for many of us in regards to their evolutionary selves. The growth that each awakened individual will have is astronomical. And once again, layers will be released, awareness will come forward, and new outlooks on life will be achieved. And another message came forward for the healers. And for the healers, when you're out in the sun, or you're looking outside through the glass and you feel the sun on your face, the divine is stating that if you place your hands up and close your eyes, that you may be able to see glowing hands now through your closed eyes. You will not be able to see this with opened eyes at this point. And this has to do with the sun coming through and activating the healers to a higher vibration frequency. And know that the sun is helping all of humanity. So this is a really exciting time as the sun continues activity. We continue to evolve and grow as a species. And knowing that there is no fear associated with any of this. I thank you all so much for being here, and blessings of love and light to all. Namaste.